Welcome back. This is title time with the T2T. We had a little bit of technical difficulties here, so we will get some questions going and everything, and kind of jump right back into it. Are you able to pull any of those questions up, Jason?
So I've got them in our previous chat. So I'm not gonna be able to pull them up for us to look at. You'll just have to hear me read them out for the time being. We'll go with Andrew Miller's question next. The interesting thing is I'm not sure if Andrew Miller is back to watching us, but that's okay. Andrew Miller's question, which just disappeared on me. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. Thrown for a loop.
We got some lining up in the chat too. So
okay, Andrew Miller says pick two in a super flex: Burrow, Russell Wilson, Andy Dalton, Derek Carr. Andy Dalton's not starting today, right? Unless they change that again, so we can't go Andy Dalton.
No, Bryce Young should be starting this week,
which is unfortunate because Andy Dalton would have been very good.
Yeah.
For me, I think I'm going to go with Burrow and Russell Wilson with the matchups. Josh?
Yeah, it's a good Burrow matchup, and he seemed to be decent even though injured last week. So,
yes, I'm going to go that same route.
All right. My son says hi. Hi, Eli. Hope you got over to the new stream. And then bye. And let's see. Uncle Steve asks about Watson being out and if we knew anything about it. Yeah, he's been hurt all week. They finally ruled him out. We don't recommend playing his backup against a bad matchup. Let's see. So Bobby Ham says Jake Ferguson, Donald Parham, Gerald Everett, Dalton Kincaid, or Logan Thomas this week and a half PPR. Please and thank you. Let's go, Josh.
What were the first two?
Jake Ferguson, Donald Parham.
Okay. And just one of those. Wow.
Yep.
I mean, if I knew Logan Thomas was healthy, which I think he is, because it was a head injury. So as long as he's cleared, it's not like he's got a joint or a strain or something like that. He's got, I know the Eagles seem like a daunting matchup, but that's a great matchup for him as a tight end and in that offense as being like one of their main targets. So it seems really weird, but I would be tempted to go with Thomas. But otherwise, I think you would want to just roll the dice with Kincaid and hoping that game goes crazy between Miami and Buffalo.
Absolutely. I'm there too.
Yeah.
Rich. Okay. Yep. Hey guys, I'm going to just mention it's a lot to go back and forth between the old chat and the new chat. So if you posted a question and we hadn't gotten to it yet, please repost it over here, and that way we can get to it. If you missed a question, if we answered it while you were jumping back over the stream, please repost the question. We will get to them all, I promise. But please repost them here in this chat. That way we can get to them. If we have time at the end, if we run out of time and I don't see questions that we answered, I'll go back into the old stream to the YouTube and answer it as title time via text instead. But we're gonna start taking questions in this video versus the live stream we closed down.
Yeah. So quick, look, I know we had technical difficulties, but look, appreciate everybody hopping back into this the new stream and everything, because we're already getting tons of questions, already getting tons of views and everything. So please, thank you very much for jumping back on and getting back onto this stream.
But again, if you post it in the old one, post it in the new one, we will get to it, I promise. All right, so we're going to get back into questions. We got a bunch here. Mini Jordan, choose 3. Mixon, Kyron, Achane, James Cook, and Kamara. Man, you've got some damn fine options.
Humble brag here.
Yeah, this is a guy who drafted, or girl, who drafted running backs properly.
Yes.
So I am gonna. I'm I'm going to say Mixon, Achane, and Cook. Those are going to be my three, and I'm leaving Kyron out, and I'm leaving Kamara out. I want to see how Kamara does coming off the suspension. He's playing against a Bucs Steve, who was typically good against the run, was bad last week, but the Saints aren't the Eagles. Mixon has looked good and is still getting all the opportunity. Achane's your upside play, and Cook has looked incredible, just hadn't found the end zone. But I'm not afraid of the Dolphins defense. So that's my reasoning. I'm going Mixon, Achane, and Cook. Rich.
I'm actually going Mixon, Cooks, and Kamara in this case. Just like what you said on Mixon, James Cooks obviously in the Miami Bills game. I want him involved in that one. And look, I know it's early, it's week 4 and stuff like that. This is going to be first game back for Kamara, but look, he has fresh legs and stuff like that, and he's ready to come out and show everybody that, look, I'm the starting running back here. Probably one of the reasons why they feel comfortable running with Derek Carr, because he's in the backfield and everything. They can lean on him as far as running and drop-offs out of the backfield. So I look for him to have a good game.
I don't think Mixon's a given here. It's not a great matchup. I mean, I guess if you're thinking they're going to roll over the Titans and he's going to run it out, but they haven't been great running the ball. He's gotten by just through workload and a couple, touchdowns here and there, but it's not. It's just your basic like 12 to 18 kind of points. It's not a huge upside. I'm going to go Kyron, Achane, and Cook. Let the old guys sit, see what happens with Kamara. I like what Rich said about it, but I don't think you're forced into doing that. See what it looks like. And Mixon I think, doesn't have the upside any of the other three have.
All right. So we gave you a bit of a mixed answer, but with that, you got to hear the reasoning. So Mini Jordan, make your choice.
Well, I will say this. I could support Josh on benching Mixon and going with Kyron based off of what Josh said. I could roll that direction too if you want me to make it easier for you, Mini Jordan.
There you go. That makes it much easier. Also, Fields or Stroud this week?
Still Fields. I mean, it may not look great, but he's going to be running around. He's going to get in your yards and points, and still Fields.
So do we think, look, Denver gave up so quickly in that game last week. Are they just a team that gives up, or do they have something to prove after allowing 70 points last week? And is this the game where they get up? You know what I mean? Like maybe they don't have it. Maybe it's not in them. Maybe they're such a terrible team that they don't have what I'm talking about. But like after a team gets embarrassed that way, you often get some kind of bounce back. You see it with teams that their coach leaves and they get a new coach, and for a week or two, you saw it last year with Jeff Saturday, right? Like the Colts got Jeff Saturday as their coach and everybody was talking crap about them and they came out and won, and then they were terrible. But you have teams that get embarrassed or have something bad happen or something that galvanizes the locker room, and then at least for a week they're that team that does something great. Then they go back and be terrible. Does Denver have that at all, or are we just going to say, and what better team to do it against than the Bears, who have looked awful all year? Does Denver have that? And if so, do they have that this week? I don't see that they do. They quit so quickly against the Dolphins last week. You can't say anything else to a team that gave up 70, because there's bad, and then there's you gave up 70, quit bad.
Yeah, look, I get everything you're saying and stuff like that, but this is a team coached by Peyton and everything. He's gonna get them up and everything, but I don't really think that matters and stuff like that. I still think you start Fields. Look, I know Stroud is the hot hand and everything, but look, he has to get it going and stuff like that. And this is a good opportunity for him to get going. I like the matchup. Might not be the best, but I do like the matchup and everything.
It's not a bad matchup for Stroud at all. I just think Fields for fantasy is better. And if I had to pick a winner in this game, I think the Broncos win this game. But that doesn't change my answer when it comes to Fields. These are separate issues. Fields is just going to put up points.
Yep, garbage points is same as fantasy
points. Yeah. So Josh, it looks like you asked this question. Can we just say no?
You know what? It is a super flex, so I was thinking about just starting something else entirely. Maybe I
Yes.
have to get Ramondre back in the lineup instead of
Yes, I
either
would
of
start
these.
Ramondre over either one of these.
All right, that solves it. There we go. I mean,
Yes.
that
You know
team is
what?
way
To be
too deep. I
fair,
have too many options. Humble brag, but
I'm starting Dobbs and stuff like that. This is the same thing as in placing the Cowboys last week and everything. Everybody
No,
thought,
it's
hey,
not the
well,
same.
I can
San
give you all the
Francisco's defense.
options if you'd like. There's Stevenson, there's Michael Thomas, and there's Chris Godwin.
I'm still Yeah, I mean, look, they're not looking Godwin's way the way they should be. So I'm gonna say Stevenson over both of these quarterbacks. Look, I know what you're saying about the Cowboys defense, but the Cowboys defense is not the 49ers defense. That 49ers defense is different. Like, I think they're better.
me personally, I'm still starting to QB in a super flex. Look, Dobbs or Howe. Look, Philadelphia. I think we talked about this numerous times in the past couple of weeks. They could be. It's their run defense that's real good. They can be thrown on and everything. So Howe is still a good option and everything. But I don't mind starting Dobbs either and stuff like that. I mean, he's going to have to get rid of the ball. He might even have to run and everything. I don't know if you guys. There was a video that went out this week where Parsons was giving trash to Dobbs the week before their game and everything, and Dobbs came back afterwards and because Parsons said, "I'm going to be throwing darts at Dobbs," and Dobbs came back with the video afterwards saying, "Pew pew pew." Those darts didn't get me.
I should know this since I'm on the Sit Start show. Is Marquise Brown out confirmed yet? Do we know?
I have not seen anything.
That was a surprise thing that I saw just in the last day or two.
2 hours ago, expected to play. I mean, that's as of 2 hours ago. 5 hours ago, expected to play. Yeah, I'd seen that he was expected to play, but it's thumb. Yeah, he had a thumb injury, but expected to play. So
okay, that would have weighed into the Dobbs. I mean, otherwise, I was kind of leaning Howell. We saw Mac Jones put up points, on the Eagles, so points are points for fantasy.
Yeah. So happy to see y'all back. Should we re-ask the questions? If your question hasn't been answered, or if you missed the answer to your question in the transition, yes, please repost it here. We will go back and scrape the questions and answer them in the YouTube chat from the first video from this morning. But if you want to see them answered live and we will get to them, please ask them here and we will ask them or answer them for you. Porg, Carr is officially starting. Yes, he's officially starting. Hence the question that Josh Bigby had to ask just a moment ago. How do we feel about this? Risky start. I mean, with his shoulder, yeah, risky against the Tampa Bay defense. I mean, they're banged up in their secondary. They may be out 3 secondary players. Their rookie first-round pick defensive lineman hasn't played since game 1, and, he's not playing. Kalijah Kancey's not playing again this week. So they're banged up, but they have been able to get after the quarterback, except for last week against the Eagles. So, yeah, I do worry about that shoulder, and, Jameis may have to come in at some point. But with that, how do we feel about this risky start? Pick 2, Carr, Mayfield, and Howell.
I'm starting Carr and Mayfield. It'll be a duel back and forth. I kind of like seeing situations like that. If I have an opportunity to have QBs in the same game where they're going to I don't want to say have to throw and everything, but I just like that matchup. Like I said, I know I was talking about Howell, but he is playing against the Eagles defense and everything. So I'm going Carr and Mayfield here.
I mean, I think we're all on board with Mayfield. I'm a little more like Rich, you said before about, when we were talking about Debo, same thing could happen with Carr, one bad hit, and now you're missing a quarterback for half the game, and Winston comes in. Could be a short leash if he gets beat up at all. They have one of the best backups in Winston in the league, so that's why I was saying we were offline talking, and I was like, why would you risk this? You have one of the best backups, so they might be quicker to put him in if they need. I'm gonna go with Mayfield and Howell. I'm right there with you. I've got Howell in, like we were talking earlier, so we'll see.
The old thing is if you always hear if that player is playing, play him. and I did just talk a bunch of crap about Carr, starting before I read Howell was the other guy. I probably should have finished reading that question first. Again, aside from last week with Mayfield playing against the Eagles have been vulnerable to give up the pass. Mac Jones did it. I'm okay because I think the Eagles are going to get up big and Howell's going to have to throw the ball, and that'll lend to interceptions, but it might also lend to points. I'm going to say Mayfield and Howell because I am worried that Carr isn't going to make it through this game. And if he doesn't make it through the game, if he makes it through a quarter, and he just ruins your whole week. I do wonder, though, if this is the super flex, is there a non-quarterback option? I know we don't like going to non-quarterback options, but maybe you have a good one that you're not playing, kind of like Josh had. So throwing that out there, let me know what your other options if you have them. McD, Mixon or Pookie? Josh, we'll start with Josh.
Who's Pookie?
Puka
Nacua? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, I think it's Puka Nacua.
Okay. I was like, that's all I can figure. I might go with. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go with Puka.
Yeah, the only other option I think is maybe it's a character off of Friday. That was the only other option I could think of and everything. But I'm going Puka too.
Well,
oddly enough, I do think the Bengals drafted that one running back that was Pookie or Puka or something, Pookie also. So for a second, I had a flashback to like 2 years of rookies ago. But I don't think that's who they're talking about.
I am going to be the odd man out, and I'm going to say Mixon. I know they're playing the Titans. I know Nacua has been good. I'm still going to say Mixon, but it's 2-1. I'm doing the Jason thing. If I'm right, I get to say I'm right. And if I'm wrong, you still should have gone with the other two because it was 2-1. So
Joshua, I'm assuming you know what the Jason thing is, right?
That's where you're contrarian at the end.
Yeah, so where you just want to be smart. You just want to be extra right if it happens to go the other way. And if you're wrong, you're just wrong with the crowd. I get it.
Well, it's not even that I'm wrong.
Cowardice.
It's that
I get it.
It's that it's not that I'm wrong. It's that they should have listened to you anyway because it was 2-1. So either way, we gave the right. I gave the right information. So good job.
Yes.
Me. Go me. George says, "Welcome back, fellas. DTR or Carr?" This one's gross too.
I mean, that's where I would say, okay, just go with Carr and hope he makes the whole game.
Yeah, that's a line for me too. I was gonna say the same thing. So Carr for me. All right, let's see. I have Ferguson everywhere. Else is on waivers. Okay, so that was the tight end question he asked before.
Okay.
Black body absorber. Need an RB2 and 1 flex. Kamara, Stevenson, Kyron, Lockett. So let's do the RB first. What is his locked in RB?
Kyron.
Yeah, it can be Kyron. I mean, I know who my two are, so it doesn't make a difference. But Kyron, sure.
Okay, since you know who your second one is, go ahead, Josh.
And then Kamara. So either way, I'm gonna. That's my upside shot with Kamara.
Yep, same here. Kamara and Kyron for me.
So for me, it would, and I was going to say this before you even picked, and before I was saying give Kamara another week. For me, it would be Kyron and Lockett. I like the matchup with Lockett playing against the Giants. The Giants' defense is, it's been bad. Let's just say it. Their offense, without an offensive line starter, with Barkley maybe not playing, that offense is going to do a lot of 3-and-outs, going to give Seattle a lot of opportunities. So for me, it would be Kyron and Lockett, but these two gentlemen said Kyron and Kamara. So it's Kyron for sure, and then, Kamara for these two guys. Let's see. He also said pick an RB2 and 3 flex. Thank you again. Oof, RB2. Madison, Mostert, White. Let's see. Warren. Yeah. Madison, Mostert, White, and Warren for his RB2. And we'll start with Rich.
RB2, you have to roll with Mostert after the game he had last week. And once again, he's in another game this week where he could be utilized very much the same way he was last week. So you have to roll with Mostert as your RB2.
I think we
It's
all
Mostert.
agree there, right? Yeah. And then for the flex, for me, it's Myers. I know there's some question there with the quarterback situation with a rookie starting his first game. But I'm going to roll the dice. He was getting 30% of the target share. It's because he's been open. It's because he's been good. So I'm going to go with Myers. But Rich, you going the same way?
Yeah, I'm going Myers, White, and I'm probably leaning Waller still. I don't know if it's a tight end premium. You didn't mention it, but those would be my other three options that I'm rolling with.
Yeah, I just noticed it was 3 flex PPR. So I think
Myers and White are pretty locked in for the two.
Yeah.
It's tough between Waller and Warren for me. I could see Warren getting a decent amount of work if Houston does well against the Steelers. He kind of becomes their little bit of receiving back kind of guy. If there is a premium, for sure, it's Waller, though, with Rich on that.
So if there's a premium, I'm going Waller. If there's no premium, I'm going Warren. So that's where I'd go. So, but Mostert, White, Myers for sure, and then for me, premium Waller, no premium Warren. So
hey, we all agreed. Wow,
look at us. Graham says, "Hey guys, this one's gross. Garrett Wilson or Terry McLaurin?" I'm going Terry McLaurin. There's going to be very few. There's a line there where I'm willing to say Garrett Wilson. We're not at that line. So Rich, I'm going to go ahead and go with you next.
Yeah, I am going to go on with that line too. There's certain receivers I'm not benching Garrett Wilson for, but in this case right here, Terry McLaurin is a great option to have because of the situation you are in with Garrett Wilson.
Yep, and I mean we've been talking about quarterbacks and Howell on a couple of these questions, but keep in mind we're picking Logan Thomas, we're picking Terry McLaurin. You know, that kind of all goes into it. So I'm with Terry McLaurin too.
Well, so another Garrett Wilson question here. I've got Garrett Wilson in 2 leagues. Bench him for Tutu in one and Palmer in the other PPR. Tutu for me, yes. Tutu's been an active participant. He's been good. Like he should have had that touchdown last week. That should have been a touchdown. I don't care what you say. There was nothing there to overturn the touchdown that he should have had last week. We all kind of made fun of when he came in the office into the league as small as he was, and what are they doing? Whatever. He looks good. He looks really good out there. I'm playing Tutu this week in a couple of leagues, so I like Tutu. Anybody taking Garrett Wilson over Tutu this week?
That's a real close line for me.
It's there, right? Like this is the area now, and it's so sad because Garrett Wilson is so talented. But with the quarterback that they have, I can't do it. I can't play him.
Yeah, look, in this case, I am taking Tutu. They are playing against the Colts and everything, so this is going to be the one where I will pick Tutu over Garrett Wilson.
And then Justin.
I mean, I don't know if I'm just not plugged in enough, but I'm not sure I have that much faith in Tutu. Seems to me like some of those matchups worked in their favor. And again, these are not bad matchups still against the Colts. So, but somebody's got to catch the ball.
It would be a different question, Josh, if Kupp was back in the game, but he's not. So
true. But still, I mean, Garrett Wilson is still a quality receiver, and the Chiefs have good numbers in points allowed and all this stuff we want to look at. But do we really think their secondary is like amazing? I mean, I know they got Jones back. They've been getting some pressure on quarterbacks, but look, Wilson's going to throw the ball to somebody, and I think it's going to be Wilson. So I'm still going to ride it with Wilson over Tutu. If anything, I'm more higher on the Palmer, Josh Palmer. But even then, I think I'm going to stick with Garrett Wilson.
See, I think Palmer has shrunk in his big moments. Like I can see him shrinking in this one. Like I don't know. He's had spots, but every time you think you should expect points from him, it just doesn't feel like he gives them to you. I would actually start Wilson over Palmer, but I would not start him over Tutu. So you and I are opposite.
But the thing about Palmer is he's a better suited to be a replacement for when Keenan is injured than when Mike Williams is injured. And so,
Right.
yes, I understand what you're saying. When he has been in there for Keenan, he has absolutely produced. But yeah, he's not. It's kind of a bit of a miscast when he's trying to be the Mike Williams. That's Quentin Johnson.
Which is, I think, Quentin Johnson should be the one that you start here.
Yeah.
But Rich, how do you?
Which is why I'm saying Wilson in both.
What do you think about Wilson for Palmer?
Yeah, so this is that fine line that I'm not going across because you have a second round receiver that you're trying to put in for a waiver wire wonder and everything. Although this is a good waiver wire wonder, I'm just not doing it in this situation. I am rolling with Garrett Wilson on this one.
All right, let's see. We'll get over. My son says, "Dad, I need a cord." Bud, ask Mom. She knows where the spare cords are. We have a whole drawer of spare cords. You know that. He just wants to be on the podcast so bad. Bobby Ham says, saying bench Debo threw me. I need a wide receiver and a flex for half PPR. Debo, Puka, Zay Flowers, Pierce, Roshan Johnson. So we need a wide receiver 3 of... I mean, it's hard to sit Puka, right? But it's either Puka or Zay as a wide receiver 3. I'm going to say Puka. Just getting so many targets.
I'm going Flowers. I'm going Flowers if I had to pick one wide receiver.
And then Rich.
Yeah, you guys would lay this one on me, wouldn't you? So I was actually still thinking of playing Debo, but since you guys split on the other two, if I had to pick out of the other two, I am leaning Zay Flowers in this one.
All right, that's 2 for Flowers, and we have a flex, so you can start Debo still, but would it be Debo, Puka, Pierce, or Roshan? And we'll start with Rich so we don't have to put him in that bad spot again.
Yeah, look, I am... Man, I want to put Pierce in there and everything. You know, I want that running back in there and everything. But, I think I'm rolling Puka and Zay Flowers here.
Half flex PPR is what gets me. Puka's going to rack up the receptions. I mean, Zay Flowers is too for that matter. So I agree. I want to get one of these running backs here, and it's probably going to be Pierce. Yeah, Flowers and Pierce for me.
It's going to be Puka and Flowers for me. I'd love to get one of the running backs in there, but I just, even at half PPR with, I said Puka first because all the targets and all the catches, like I think that's going to more than even out what ends up happening for like Roshan and for Pierce, who doesn't catch the ball hardly at all. So exactly. We just haven't seen it out of Pierce. That's the trouble.
The reason why I went Puka too, because anytime someone says a half PPR, so you gotta throw back to the option of who's going to have more touches, attempts, however you want to look at it and everything. And Puka and Pierce can even out as far as targets, touches, how you want to call it and stuff like that. And to me, Puka has a slight edge just because of all the targets that he gets so much and everything. So
all right, so that is 2 of us for Puka. And
I will say this one last thing. I apologize.
Yeah, no worries.
In Houston and everything, Devin Singletary has been getting a lot of work within these games and everything. So he's the one thing that kind of really, if they get behind, it seems like Singletary's in the game a lot more than Pierce is.
Yeah. All right. And then my son again, do I need a cord? That is not why we had to switch. I didn't lose power, bud. So I'm good. He took the cord out of here and he thinks that I lost power and that's why we shut down. But I'm good. I charged before we started. So we're good. But thanks for worrying about me. Kyle Singer, Gabe Davis, or Michael Thomas in a full PPR. I'm firing up Gabe Davis this week. I think I think that's a game that's going to score a lot of points, and I think Gabe Davis, if that's the case, is going to have a ton of those too. I'm not that big on Michael Thomas this year, and I think Gabe Davis has the upside. Rich.
Yeah, me and Justin on our rival fantasy show. This was one of the rival matchups that we did. We set a stipulation where you had to pick a second receiver from a team to match up against each other and stuff like that. I went Gabe Davis because of the high scoring potential in this game and everything. I'm actually in a league where I'm starting Diggs and Gabe Davis because of the potential of how much scoring could happen in this game.
I get all of that. Rich, you picked Davis and I picked Mike Thomas as our flex in Beat the Bandito here. And that was when I was thinking Winston was starting. Is it too late to change that, by the way? They haven't started yet. I get it. I'll go with Gabe Davis just because the upside, and I understand. But I do think Michael Thomas has a real shot at a serious, volume game here today. I just wish it was Winston. That's all.
Josh, are you connected and logged into Rival Fantasy?
Yes.
Hit it, Jason.
Oh, I've got let me get back to it. Hold on. I was doing something else.
Oh, that's it. You insulted my honor. I demand satisfaction.
I challenge you to a duel.
I shan't mince words with you for long. I am challenging you, sir, to a duel.
Sir, your challenge is accepted.
I accept. Now I accept your challenge.
Oh, that's...
All right, so that sound means this is the Rival Fantasy Challenge of the week. Every week we're doing a $5 challenge between at least two of us that are here today. And I guess it looks like Michael Thomas, Gabe Davis is going to be the $5 challenge.
I did not agree to this. I just told you I'm picking Gabe Davis. Only had Michael Thomas because I thought it was Winston. And he was going to go to his old guy Thomas over and over and over again against a bad opponent there. So whatever, for the fun of it, we'll go for it. Full PPR. Davis is just going to get like 2 catches all game. We know how this goes.
No, the reason why I'm doing it is because of Beat the Bandito and stuff like that. You went with him in your flex, and I went Gabe Davis in my flex. Now, if you still want to do it, I would love to challenge you on that. But I understand you did pick Gabe Davis in this one.
All right, we're good then. We're good.
All right. So we've got a Cowboys fan here. Let's see. What are y'all's thoughts if we switch Bland and Lewis and vice versa? So 2 cornerbacks for the Cowboys with Diggs going out. Rumor has it Bland's going to be on the outside often, opposite of Gilmore, and Lewis is going to be nickel. And, to be honest, I guess Bland looked good. Has looked good. Doesn't he have a pick 6 already this year? I don't know. Look, it's cornerbacks. It's IDP. I'm not a big IDP guy. I've only read cursory because I love football. I've only read cursory stories on it, and I'm sure I'm messing the 2 names up too. So I at least know their cornerbacks and why they're playing, but that's as far as I can give you as far as the Cowboys and defense.
Yeah, if Coach was on the show, this would be a question right lined up with him.
All right. McD says Pookie is Javonte.
That was the Mixon or Pookie, and I'm glad someone finally mentioned Javonte. We've danced around talking about how bad Denver is at defending running backs. The only other team that is possibly as bad against running back as the Denver Broncos is the Chicago Bears, who they are playing against. I really like Javonte this week. I would start Javonte over Mixon.
I would too, but I've got to know why Javonte is Pookie and why this is the first I've heard of it.
Yeah, that's
it's not even close.
Hearing of this.
I just quickly Googled it, and it's a nickname that the father and son share. So I guess his father nicknamed him Pookie because his nickname was Pookie, which is weird in and of itself.
Good for them.
I don't know. I don't know that I want my dad's nickname, but whatever. Good for them. Charbonnet and Mims are my other options in the Frankenstein League. That's from a question earlier. Let me see if I can scroll up and
Pick
find
two,
the question.
Carr, Mayfield, Howell. That's the only other.
Oh yeah, this was it's
question from
the
him.
Superflex League.
So instead in the Superflex slot.
Yeah.
I'd still roll Howell over Mims. I like Mims.
I guess. Yeah, I guess I still roll
Frankensteak
Howell.
though. I mean, if Mims hits, it's going to be big.
Yeah, Mims is a player that could hit big in Frankensteak.
Superflex League trade. Jordan Loves for Debo. PPR League. I have Burrow and Patty Mahomes at QB as well. Team is a contender. Would you trade Jordan Love for Debo Samuel in a Superflex? Josh? Jordan Love's been getting it done. I don't know. I think you can probably get more than Debo.
Yeah, I just wonder if you traded Burrow, how much a better wide receiver could you get? I would explore that option first, but I don't hate Jordan Love for Debo. I assume this must be if it's redraft, only if it's redraft. Just saying that.
Exactly.
Not in Superflex, but if it's redraft, I don't hate that love for Debo. If that's the best option you've been able to get, and you're just trying to upgrade your lineup, that's a good option. But I would explore. You might gain more with who you can gain from Burrow. In the drop from Burrow to Love may not be as far as you can gain in your wide receiver.
Can I also mention the Packers' upcoming schedule of Raiders, Broncos, Vikings, Rams? And then there's a game against the Steelers, which I'm not a big fan of, but after that, it's the Chargers. There is some good stuff coming for Jordan Love. Those defenses are not scary at all.
Yeah, with all that being said, though, are you starting Jordan Love over Burrows and Patty Mahomes in those stretches?
Well, I'm trading, not if I can trade Burrow. If I can get something good for Burrow, like Josh was just saying, no, I wouldn't. I don't know. Let me look at Burrow's schedule. I'm sorry if the Browns are in there, the Steelers are in there, and he's gimpy and can't get away from the defense. Maybe I'm starting him against over Burrow here and there.
That plays into the fact of maybe you don't get that high of a value with Burrow due to his injury and everything too. So
you trade on his name. I think I see what I can get. I see what I can get. I like what Josh says, especially with those games coming up. I love that schedule for Love going forward. I've got people making me offers for Love here and there, and just looking at that schedule, I don't know that I make that trade now. I think he's going to be my starter. I even have Love and Burrow together in one team, and that's making me go, okay, I'm going to be starting Love over Burrow here and there. So, so that's the answer, George. Look for a trade for Burrow instead. Dustin says, I'm personally rolling with Tutu until he proves me otherwise. Dude is probably one of the most underappreciated gems found on waivers. This year he has been for sure. I mean, let's see if it, like you said, you're rolling with him until he proves you otherwise. Hopefully it's not just a early season flash in the pan. So, I do start to worry about it when Cooper Kupp comes back. And, while we all scoffed at the idea of him coming back based off previous news and whatever, before, but now they're seriously talking about he's going to be ready week 5, and how long he's ready and how good he stays. I can't tell you, but I do worry about enough ball to go around when it's Puka Nacua and then Cooper Kupp and Tutu Atwell. But I think I'd worry a little more about Puka in that scenario because Kupp and Puka are very similar in skill set and what they do on the field versus Tutu stretching the field. So Bobby Ham says, drop Roshan for Jeff Wilson.
No, by no means. You sit there and think about it. When Jeff Wilson comes back, he's in a committee with Mostert and Achan. So
Achan already took his job.
Pretty much, exactly. Look, he's there and everything, but look, Roshan has the potential to be a league winner towards the end of the season as the season goes on and everything. So do not drop Roshan for Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, the issue with Jeff Wilson for me isn't that I think he's going to start and get a lot of play. It's just going to be another guy in that backfield. So that's going to muddy behind Mostert for me. That's going to muddy what there is. That means 1 or 2 less, 3 or 4 less carries for HN to me. And that's the only thing that it does for me. It doesn't mean go start Wilson, and it also doesn't mean Achane can't be a home run hitter. It just means there might be a couple less carries, and that's going down. But like Jeff Wilson, with Achane playing well, if he does it again, especially this week, like I don't see a world in which he gains a lot of touches in this backfield. And Roshan's only been getting more and more each week, even though it's a bad offense. So like I want the guy getting more touches and not potentially less. And then George reiterates what we're saying. What are you laughing at over there?
That I'm laughing at that.
Oh, that he
At
can't
George.
be
I'm
on,
just
but he
laughing at
can't
George.
answer. Yeah, well, that's fine. And then Black Body Absorber says, time permitting, just to clarify, Warren over Madison this week. Cam Akers playing.
Anyone over Madison? Yes, correct. Anyone.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, and then drop Hunter Henry for Kincaid in redraft PPR.
Yeah, I mean,
if you don't, I would like to see if you could drop another option and everything, if that's possible. But if you don't, yeah, look, Henry is proven that this year he might be 1A, 1B in that receiving game.
but Kincaid could have a huge game this week and suddenly fire up in value.
Yeah.
If you're looking to have someone you can reliably start in future weeks and bye weeks and so on, of course, always know your tight end, any onesie position. If you have a backup, know your primary starters bye and know the matchup that's coming. We have a few weeks under our belt now to know defenses a little bit. Look ahead. If Hunter Henry's, your backup for your tight end who has a terrible but Hunter Henry has a terrible matchup on that bye week, then maybe Kincaid is better. My point is if you're looking to trade Kincaid, if your league doesn't trade and you just need a guy and Hunter Henry has a great matchup during your main starter's bye week, then what's the real point here? Unless you really believe Kincaid is going to be something consistently every week, which I don't, I would just stick with Hunter Henry. But that's a very specific answer, so please get all of it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'd worry that Hunter Henry would get picked up if you drop him for Kincaid this week, right? And Kincaid has been splitting with Knox, and that's the worry, right? So if you're trying to drop Hunter Henry to pick up a 1 week start, because I do think Kincaid is going to be better than Henry this week and this week only. Maybe not this week only, but this week for sure. I don't know about rest of the season. I'd be okay with it, but again, it really depends on what's on your tight end waiver wire. Will Henry get picked up on waivers, snatched up if you need him next week? So that's I'm with you there, Josh. Like I like Kincaid, but if you're worried about if you want Henry as rest of the season and he's been reliable in a unreliable tight end year, it's hard for me to drop somebody that can help you rest the season for one game. So.
And just the way to ask being drop instead of start, I guess I was thinking this was a bench move. So this week I'd start Kincaid over Henry if you're actually picking up to start, if that helps.
Pat says, PPR 5 flex spots. I'm playing Nico, Ford, Achane, Palmer, and Downs. Would you play Dotson, Elijah Moore, Bourne, or Shaheed over any of them? Yeah.
Just the one.
Which one?
I would play Dotson over Palmer, like we talked about before. That's pretty much the only change I would make.
I might even play Shaheed. Like Palmer's the one I would want to bench, and you'd say Dotson. I would say Shaheed has a shot against Tampa Bay and their secondaries who's beat up, and they're good for like one miscommunication a game, and that could be a Shaheed touchdown. How about you, Rich? It sounds like we're picking between Dotson and Shaheed over Palmer, or would you stick with Palmer?
I'd actually keep Palmer, and there's Downs that I'd probably be putting in Dotson over. Palmer's going to be the number 2 receiver there. Downs just hasn't shown much, and then we got to understand Anthony Richardson is back at QB this week and everything. So for me, it would be Dotson that I'm putting over Downs.
All right, so we got to be some kind of help for Pat because we went 3 completely different directions.
I will say, I think Richardson was targeting Downs almost more than anyone. in those first two games. Downs is the wide receiver too. It's, at least in a volume perspective. I know Alec Pierce gets the shots, and Pittman is obviously the one, but Downs is getting work, and so that's why I was happy to leave him in there. But yeah, it hasn't necessarily been high fantasy point work.
I get that, but think of it this way, okay? Justin Herbert to Palmer or Anthony Richardson to Downs. Which one would you rather have? I don't know if that muddy is it more, but look, Justin's going to be throwing the ball and everything. Palmer's going to be on the other end with Allen and everything. I just like that connection better than I do the Richardson Downs. Justin's going to be throwing a lot more than Richardson.
All right. Well, it sounds like we're mostly dug in. Pat, we didn't actually answer your question because there's three of us and we all had different choices, but you got to hear our thought processes. So pick the one that you agree with the most. I am going to break away 1 second just to mention something super gross. The leading receiver right now for Atlanta is Jonnu Smith with 4 receptions for 67 yards. Now, Drake London saved his day with a touchdown so far. Three receptions, 28 yards, 1 touchdown. Kyle Pitts only 2 receptions, 21 yards. What are they doing throwing the ball to Jonnu Smith compared to Kyle Pitts? I mean, they both have 4 targets. It's just so gross. I'm sorry I had to break in with that. For those of you that do care about the game that's actually in Andy's room, Bijan Robinson, 14 carries, 105 yards. He also has 5 receptions, 32 yards. Like
London does have 7 targets though.
He does. They're throwing it to him, but it's actually really hard to. So I've been trying to check in on that game here and there, but I don't have ESPN Plus. I only have Disney Plus, so I'm watching it in Andy's room with the overlay. So it's really hard to tell how those targets have actually looked and if they've even been close because you can't tell. So it's hard to say whether any of those were worth a damn or not. And then on the other side, Calvin Ridley, saved this week by a touchdown because he's only got 2 targets, and that's 2 for 38. Christian Kirk has had a damn good game, 8 for 84, no touchdowns. Evan Ingram for tight ends, he's been steady Eddie too, 7 receptions, 59 yards. So some fantasy gold there. Although if you're the Calvin Ridley owner after week 1, this is not what you wanted to see. So that's the game going on in London. I do love being able to wake up and watch football right from the time I get up, and it starts real early and, it's nice, but I really hate those London games so much. Just hate them. Andrew Miller, pick 3, Dameon Pierce, Collins, Sutton, Mims, Damian Harris. We're picking from the bottom here a little bit.
I mean, I like it. I like Dameon Pierce. I like Nico. To me, those are the 2. And then it's you're kind of going for an upside already with Collins. So I struggle with also going Mims.
Right. And
so
I think I go Sutton.
Seems like it's the complementary pick there. But your matchup, and if you need to go for it, if you need to go for it, I wouldn't shy away from Collins and Mims if you feel like you've got to have it.
Yeah, I'm leaning Pierce, Collins, and Sutton here.
I think you're right. I think, well, again, if you're projected to lose by a lot, maybe you take the upside and you take Mims and hope you get a couple of home runs. But other than that, for me, it's Pierce, Collins, and Sutton, the first 3 you put on there. And then y'all said Logan or Kincaid over Ferguson. Sorry for the repeat. I'm struggling with the drop the Ferg for some reason.
Because the Patriots are really good at defending tight ends.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
it's been a weak spot in the past years as a Patriots fan. I know that, but their linebackers are on it this year. Remember what they did to Goddard?
Yeah. Yep.
That was a bad week.
But so was it Logan or Kincaid? I think I said Kincaid.
You did send Kincaid, and
I think you did. Kincaid. It was definitely between those 2. I was kind of leaning Logan just from the idea of he's back. I don't think there's any other health concerns. He's cleared the concussion, everything. So, I in that game against the Eagles, I mean, again, same. Just throw it back again. That game against the Patriots and the Eagles, that was a big game from Hunter Henry. So I could see a similar thing for Logan.
All right, so I think that's 2 for Kincaid, 1 for Logan. I am not sure where this is. Oh, it is a dynasty. He's talking about trades. That trade he was talking about, and it is in a dynasty league, so that makes it different. That's definitely makes it different.
Throw it in the gilded, and we'll follow up on it there, George.
I'm not sure it changes anything, though, to be honest, George. But
I mean, I'm less inclined to shop Burrow in a dynasty than I am because I think Burrow's
where does
their
it say
age
it's a dynasty?
different.
I guess we're assuming it's a dynasty.
It's the next statement. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. I already answered that. Then we said not in a dynasty. Okay, move along next.
And then he's talking about the committee in Miami could be easily better than Chicago. Sure, I guess, but I don't want 4 of them splitting up what 2 of them did last week. You'd have to have what you had last week to have 4 of them do anything worth of note. So,
not to mention Waddle's back and everything, so that's going to lessen those targets and touches too. So
yeah,
it's
the third wheel versus the 1B.
Man, this is Air White 54, Myers, Ayuk, Ramondre, and Lockett. He's got some options. They're pretty good. I'm
going Myers and Lockett out of these 4. Those are the 2 that I'm going with. Look, Ayuk, we've already talked about earlier. There's a potential that he could be in, then he could be out. Look, they kind of mentioned earlier too about Zeke getting more of the reps, first touches. I do still like Ramondre, but in this case right here, PPR, I'm going Myers and Lockett.
I'm with you. Myers.
All right. And then Black Body Absorber says that helps a ton. Thanks, guys. Hey, so if you're still watching. I know you apologize for having a bunch of questions. Look, that's what we're here for, man. The people that have 7, 8 different leagues, we want to help you in every single one of them. So never apologize for asking a bunch of questions. That's why we're sitting here on a Sunday morning. So we will take as many questions as you have. So Bobby says, agreed. Thank you all for your time and effort. Good luck to you all this weekend and Monday. You as well, Bobby. I appreciate that. This is the last question we have over here, and then he says he's still here. So very cool. Thank you for watching. Even though we've answered your questions, I appreciate that as well. So this is the last one we have, and I'll go back to the other chat and fish out ones we didn't get reposted. That way we can answer those as well. Actison, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, or Pacheco in a PPR, projected to lose at the moment. So the guy needs upside. Projected to lose. I don't see Pacheco as upside. I don't see Elijah Moore as. I don't see Elijah Moore with Thompson as upside.
I do see a.
Go
ahead.
Look, I know he's saying projected to lose at the moment and stuff like that, but look, a lot of people are projected to lose at the moment. No games have started yet and stuff like that. So, look, Garrett Wilson, yes, he has an upside if he has. Look, there was one game we were talking about a couple weeks back and everything, and Garrett Wilson had a long 60-plus yard touchdown and everything. But on the same token, that was probably the only thing he had. He probably had some other targets, but wasn't able to do much. Pacheco is slowly but surely starting to become that lead back in there, and he's getting passes out of the backfield and everything. He's going to give you that opportunity because he plays with Mahomes. Kelsey's there, so that kind of takes away some coverage to where he could catch some balls out of the backfield. So Pacheco, to me, is the obvious choice here.
Yeah, there is a scenario where Pacheco is high upside. That's a good defensive line. You could see a lot of dump offs to Pacheco. It could also end up being McKinnon is the problem. But, yeah, I don't see as much of a high upside with Wilson scenario.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna have to be a 10-yard slant that goes like that's how he got a 68-yard touchdown a couple weeks ago. Is he caught a slant over the middle and turned on the Jets, and a pun not intended actually, and then took it to the house. It's gonna have to be that for me. I actually think it's Elijah Moore. He's been close with Watson. I know they have a backup quarterback. Maybe that changes who they throw it to. You see that you end up with a different favorite guy here and there. So for me, it'd be Elijah Moore, but I can understand why people would say Pacheco, but it's not Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, look, Acton, I know it's a hard choice, benching Wilson. I get it. A lot of people are having to make that decision and everything. And, on top of that, too, it kind of depends on where you, as far as standings, I mean, this early in the season and stuff like that. So have that on your mind when you're making these decisions. I know I got Garrett Wilson in one league, and I got him down to the flex level because of the options I have and everything. But I think it's obvious choice here that you take Pacheco or Elijah Moore over Garrett Wilson in this for this week.
Yep. So Porg is asking a Frankenstein question that I guess that Marvin Mims question from earlier. But yeah, I guess does the opponent having Dak at QB and starting an illegal lineup change your mind on Mims at all? If I start Mims, I can steal Hopkins. If I start Howell, I can steal Dak, or I can steal Connor.
Well, don't steal Hopkins. So go from there.
Right. Yeah.
Howell to Dak, I would think, would be the best.
I think so, but Dustin mentions unless they're using a hero card for defense, and then it's not illegal.
That's what I wondered.
So it just double check to see if they have the hero card.
If you're using the sorry to interrupt, but if you're using the Platinum app, it might not be showing up correctly, whereas maybe we gave it the correct custom name on the website with the hero name. So double check on the actual website.
Yeah, so it may not. Definitely check that before you make a start-sit decision because you think it's an illegal lineup. It might not be. Again, it is, and I do appreciate you asking these questions instead of just like getting mad after something happens because it is one of those leagues where you do have to pay attention to the rules. There's a lot of moving pieces and parts, and it's a fun league, but it can be an extremely frustrating league if you don't catch something. So I do appreciate you asking that question. Make sure he doesn't have a hero card before you assume he's got an illegal lineup. And then Addison says, it's hard not starting Wilson. He was offensive rookie of the year last year with Zach. Let me make a argument for you there. He was rookie of the year last year with Mike White, and he was rookie of the year last year with why is his name? The guy from the Ravens a couple years ago.
Flacco was starting.
Flacco, yeah. He was rookie of the year with those guys. When he played with Wilson, he was awful. He had, in 9 games, had 400 yards and no touchdowns. He was not rookie of the year last year with Wilson. So just my argument about, I get what you're saying, but, he really wasn't them. So following up, if I drop Hunter Henry, I can roster Zay Jones as well as Kincaid. Could drop Dotson ahead if I need wide receiver help. I don't mind streaming at tight end. I don't see anyone picking up Hunter in this league. Yeah, I mean, look, if you don't think they're going to pick him up, then drop him for Kincaid for sure for this week. And we can go for there. And we're going to help Porg out here. Porg, they're looking to see what your team name is. They want to see to make sure your opponent's is or is not doing an illegal lineup. So we're going to get you help.
Yeah, I'm looking into it.
Okay, so we're looking into it. So that looks like it's all of the questions. There was one on the old chat that I'll bring up. Would you all have started Jordan Love over Daniel Jones? Now it's too late, but it is worth discussing. I had to make this decision. I have Daniel Jones and Jordan Love in a handful of spots. And I actually have been starting Love because he's it's every week. It's 2-3 touchdowns or a rushing touchdown and 2 touchdowns. It's been good versus Daniel Jones, who had a half against Carolina, and that's literally been his whole fantasy season. Well, I see you contemplating down there, Josh. I like that.
No,
Look
I
on your
agree
face.
with Daniel Jones. It's been a struggle. Yeah. If you have another decent option, like Love or whatever, yes.
All right, and then Rich, Daniel Jones, Love. I mean, we talked about Love going forward. It's too late for this week, but he kind of asked like, what were your thoughts before this week? And
so he started Jordan Love over Daniel Jones, I'm assuming, right?
I think he probably started Jones, and it's too late, and he feels bad because he could have started Love, and
you made
Love
the
had
right
it.
choice. I would have started Jordan Love over Daniel Jones, because of they were playing the Detroit Lions, stuff like that. I was looking at it as more of a higher scoring game. Look, they got behind. He had garbage points and stuff like that. So I mean, in most leagues, I mean, he at least scored 20 points if I'm correct and stuff, depending on your situation and everything. So it still was probably the right call and stuff like that, because of the decision you made. Look, stick with your decision and pay up to the piper if that's the case.
Ballard, Brazil. I'm just bad at pronouncing these things, so I apologize if you wanted me to say it right. Devontae Parker, Chark Jr., or Shaheed. This is Shaheed for me. Chark, don't like the quarterback. Devontae Parker. I mean, Josh, you can tell me. Has Devontae Parker done anything this year?
Well, he was injured for the first week or two. He was back and I think was the most targeted wide receiver last week. Not that means much. I don't hate Chark as an upside to playing the Vikings at home. Somebody's getting targets. It's right now it's Thielen, but Chark did have a nice big play last week, if I recall correctly. I can't remember if he quite got in for the touchdown or not. I think he did, but he could become the wide receiver one there in time. As far as this week, it's just as much of an upside play as Shaheed. I don't hate Chark. I might go with that over what could turn into a very slow and boring slugfest between the Saints and the Bucs. I know we're all excited about but that could just devolve into an ugly game very quickly.
You know, I do have things I want to rebut, but it wouldn't be fair if I didn't let Rich go first. So I'm gonna let Rich go first, and then we can talk about Chark versus Shaheed again.
If I am correct, Chark did score last week, and he looks like he's involved and stuff like that. Shaheed, as much as we keep on hyping him up as really haven't seen the case yet this year and everything. So in this case, I'm going Chark.
Okay. Chark scored last week with Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is not playing quarterback this week, guys. It's Young, and Young does not look good. Like he just hasn't looked good. I get you guys are both right. He scored last week. Shaheed didn't, although I think he did have a punt return for touchdown. Some leagues allow you to score for that, some don't. So it's up, and you can't count on that every week. If Tampa's defense is vulnerable, it's to speedy outside guys who can get down the field quickly, especially this week when their starters look to be hurt. I get what you're saying with Chark. Like it could be his week. I just like he's coming off a hammy issue. He's not on the injury report. I get it. But he was hobbled in practice this week for his hamstring. And then he's got a quarterback that's not – Andy Dalton at this point in his career is actually a better quarterback. We saw it last week than Love is. I just can't start Chark. But again, it's 2-1. So, I didn't even pull a Jason. I came out ahead of that.
Was week 3 Chark's first week back? I'm thinking it was. So he didn't have a chance to play with Bryce Love. We don't know what he's going to look like with Bryce Love. So
that's true. Let's see. And then Black Body Absorber agrees. He says he started Love over Jones. I did that in a lot of places. I drafted Love I drafted Jones, and then later on, because I wasn't sure about Jones and his schedule, I grabbed Love as a third option in my 2 QB leagues, just to have that guy that I think could, he was one of the last guys that could have been good before it fell off a cliff at quarterback. So, let's see. Porg, I do not see your opponent as having a hero player. So, all right, it looks like it is an illegal lineup. But he mentions up here that
he's saying it doesn't seem having a hero player, which makes it sound like they either didn't claim the right guy, or he's doing what I said and is looking on Platinum and it hasn't updated the name correctly. And that is the hero player. But not if whoever posted that doesn't see they have one, then yeah, something else happened there.
So I think they dropped it to pick up the 49ers, so he dropped his hero. I mean,
maybe they just misunderstood what was happening there. Yeah. Hopefully we can get a hold of whoever that is and get that straightened out.
But I mean, it looks like you're going to win by forfeit because the games are, right around the corner. Let's check in on this actual football game that's happening right now in Andy's room, and it's 23-7 Jacksonville.
It's done.
Yeah, it's over. It is over, Johnny.
What did Ritter had like 5 points or something like that?
I don't know. One touchdown, 2 interceptions, 191 yards. You got 1 rushed for 6 yards, so you're not even getting it on the ground like you thought you were going to. Etienne's disappointing. 20 carries. I mean, he got volume, right? So that's nice. 20 carries for 55 yards.
I've been trying to trade for him in a few places. I don't know if this helps or hurts, but yeah.
You get 5 points from him on the ground, and then you get 3 receptions. So in a full PPR, that's 8, and then almost 2 as far as 20 yards receiving. So, in a full PPR, he had about 11 fantasy points.
What's even more important that in our Frankenstein league, he gave you 22.50.
Yeah. I mean, that it sounds good until you realize pretty much any running back is going to give you that much or more. You know what I mean? Like, it's good, but that's gross. Again, Christian Kirk, after week 1, everybody buried him, and he's been the number 1 there since week 1.
I could
no
see,
touchdowns though.
Just to go back to something, I think because Christian Kirk reminded me, Josh Downs. I could see the Colts, in my mind, Josh Downs is very much their Christian Kirk, and there's gonna be times. We saw it last week. He got like 12 targets or something. Obviously, that was Minshew instead, but similar situation where there's a one that everyone thinks is the one in either Pittman or Ridley, but if the defense decides to shut them down, the other guy's going to eat.
Yeah. We got a question here. Ballard, Brazil, Kyron Williams, or Mostert? I have to say Mostert.
Start the running back 1.
Yep.
Yeah. Look, last week does skew that a little bit, right?
He was already like running back 5 before that.
Right. So
before that.
I don't know if he's going to be running back 1 on the season, but it'll take a couple weeks for that to fall apart now.
Hey, if Josh Jacobs could finish as number 1 last year, Mostert could finish as number 1 this year.
He just has to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, going back years, 49ers days, there's been hype around Mostert being an incredible talent. And
yeah, he's had stretches.
It's all about the health. It's all about the health. Pork says, if I steal Connor, do you like Hubbard or Charb rest of the season? Ooh.
No.
If you finish out the question, neither in my opinion are great, but I see Hubbard having a bigger role. Am I wrong on that? Yes.
I think you're wrong too.
Yeah, I think Charb has a better opportunity if he does step into the one position because of injury.
Yeah, I think neither one of them as the backup role are very good, but if you're looking for a guy who's going to be a starter because of injury, look, we are seeing Hubbard have to play here because of a groin injury. But man, if Walker goes down, Charbonnet quickly becomes a top target, a top talent, a top guy. I think I want to hang on to Charbonnet in that. Full PPR, Madison at Carolina or White at New Orleans. And then he says full PPR, but we'll pop that back up.
Well, I think that matters. It's White. If anything, he's going to get involved in the in the receiving game. Whereas if in the Vikings case, if they get Akers in there this week, it's going to be in the passing game where we have continually seen Madison drop the ball.
And I lean that way as well. White at New Orleans if it's full PPR. So
100% with you guys.
All right, guys, we've got about 4 minutes left. If we get another question that pops up before 12:30, we'll go ahead and answer it. But we're going to start wrapping it up here. Again, I do want to apologize for our technical difficulties a little bit earlier, but I'm glad you guys were able to come over to this stream and get your questions answered. If you have questions that we didn't answer and you're in our Gilded chat, and this is the time to plug our Gilded chat, you can post them in there. We do start sit all the time in our Gilded chat. If you're in there, if you're not in there, email toiletsandtitles@gmail.com and we will get you into our Gilded chat. It is free for all to join. We have over 250 members in there talking about football all the time. We talk about start sit. We talk about trades. We talk about the games. We talk about just about everything. So join us on our Gilded again, toiletstitles.com or toiletstitles@gmail.com. If you want to jump into our Gilded chat. Also, you can be a Patreon member. Patreon.com/toiletstitles. We have a tier for every salary, basically. We start at $1.50 and work our way up. $1.50 gets you into our Gilded chat Patreon area. On up, we have waiver wire. We have a waiver wire document that goes out during Monday Night Football or right after Monday Night Football. We get it out to you first ahead. I did talk to a Gilded member who has waivers run Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. It is hardcore, man. Most everybody else puts their waiver wire content out after that happens because most waiver wires run on Wednesday. We get it out Monday night. That way you have it in case you have waiver wires run on Tuesday. So we try to beat everybody to the punch with our information, and it's good information. And again, we go up from $1.50 to, like, if you do the $1 million, we send Joe to your house to spoon with you. He'll take your dogs for a walk, whatever you need. So, we've got it, like I said, for every salary. I'm hoping one day somebody takes me up on that and we have to send Joe to a weird place and it puts the lotion on the skin. Also,
we have one last minute entry. So go ahead and finish up.
If we were bored, I had another.
Start 3 running backs: Jacobs, Kamara, White, Javonte.
I think you're benching White.
Yeah, you're probably benching. I'm benching. I've said it. I'm benching Kamara this week, which means he'll probably have a big week. But, based off the answers you've given and what Rich has given, like I'm seeing White as the guy to bench. Jumping back into this, we also partner up with Rival. Join rival.com/titletribe. They will match your first deposit up to $200 in bonus bets. Also, if you use Title Tribe as the code or you use joinrival.com/titletribe, you'll get an additional $25 with your first deposit. It's a big deal because they do all kinds of cool things. Justin is really into the bingo cards. It is just like bingo, except, you pick your lineup, and then they throw out weird stats that you have to hit on your bingo card. So, for example, you need a quarterback that rushes a touchdown in the third quarter. If you get that slot on your bingo card gets ticked off, and then if you get a whole line, you win bingo. Obviously, you win, right? So, joinrival.com, they have bingo. They also have, like what we had today, they have challenges where you ever at a bar and you go, I think Roshan's going to do better this week, and somebody else says, no, I think Javonte's going to do better. You can do a bet just on those two players and how they're going to do in fantasy that week. So they do challenges. It's very cool, very different. And they also are dabbling. They're starting to get in a league-long fantasy, and that'll be coming probably next year from them out into the public. We're testing for them this year. But Rival is a very cool platform, a whole lot of fun. So join rival.com/titletribe for all your needs. With that, guys, I do want to mention we really appreciate Josh jumping on since George couldn't be here. I appreciate both of their professionalism as we had the technical difficulties. We were able to jump back into this, and it was a whole lot of fun. So thank you guys for everything this week. I hope your fantasy teams win unless you're playing against me. And guys, good luck this week.